Um, I wanted to understand what is the ingredient or ingredients to create psychological power, which we famously call as influence. Like, how does one go about creating influence?
So influence is a phenomenal word that sometimes gets confused
Right.
with the word persuasion. So persuasion and influence are two different things, and I want to start there because it's an important distinction. Persuasion is something that can only be done when you are with a person in real time. So right now, you and I are talking in real time. This is my opportunity to persuade you. I can't influence you in this moment. I can only persuade you in this moment because I'm physically here with you. After this call is over and you go do whatever you're going to do with the rest of your night, and I go on and do whatever I'm going to do with the rest of my day, that is the opportunity where persuasion is gone, but influence is available. And if you have a conversation with your fiance or with your producer or with a business partner, and you're like, I had this great conversation today with this former CIA guy with giant hair. And here's what he said. That's me influencing you, your conversation, and the person you're talking to. Likewise, if I go out with my wife for lunch and I'm like, oh, I had this great conversation with a major podcaster in India named Prakar, great guy, handsome as hell. Now you're influencing me because influence can only happen when you're not together. Persuasion is what happens when you're together. Influence is what happens when you're not together. So the number one most powerful thing for influence is being able to gain someone's trust, their trust enough to just get them to remember you. That's what's most important. When you're trying to persuade someone, the most important thing you can have is emotion, because emotion is what makes two people connect here and now. But trust is what makes people connect after they're actually no longer talking to each other. It doesn't have to be trust in the person. You don't have to trust me. I don't have to trust you. But we have to question how much we trust our own previous beliefs and then bring up the new thought process or the new pattern or the new idea that someone else brought forward. And here's what's crazy, Prakar. The more you think about me and the more I think about you, even when we're not together, cognitively, our brain considers that the same as if we were actually sitting together. So if you and I spent a week in India, traveling India together, we would become close friends. Well, if I spend a week in the United States watching your content, thinking about what you have to say, reading your thoughts and your messages, I'm going to build a relationship with you on my own. Even though you won't be building the same relationship where you are because you're not thinking about me and reading my books and watching my content, right? So that's how this whole influence thing works. That's why the most influential people in the world have books, they have YouTube channels, they have videos, they're on camera. You can find them and you can spend time with them when they don't spend time with you, because that influence lasts for a long time, even long after they've said the words that they're saying, simply because you're thinking about them. You're building a relationship with them that they're not building with you.
So if I had to build influence, what I have to do is effectively persuade people without being there. Right? Like if I can pass on emotion through my videos, my books, my podcast, whatever, and then people in their own time consume it, the eventual outcome is influence. And this is a technological version of it. But if I meet somebody and I persuade them and they find me to be trusting and they think about me later, I'm already generating influence that way. If two people are
Exactly.
talking about me somewhere else and they're talking to each other, third person listens to that, there is a scope, there's a chance that they might be influenced.
You're building influence still. Exactly
Right.
right. Exactly right. Because you're not even present. And here's what's so powerful: when you're not present and somebody else is representing your ideas, that's something in CIA that we call an advocate.
Huh.
When an advocate is representing you, you gain the credibility and the authority and the influence of the advocate. So think about that, right? I'm going to be speaking to the European Union Parliament in Brussels after the new year. I was invited to speak to the entire parliament by one representative, the representative of Cyprus. Because of the representative of Cyprus, I'm being pulled into this formal government entity. The Cyprus person is my advocate. And he is lending his credibility, his authority as a parliamentarian to the entire parliament. So now I have an opportunity to speak to people that I would otherwise never get to speak to because of a single advocate and the influence I've had on that one advocate. And that's an example of what we all do every day. Whether you're looking for a new job, whether you're looking for a new spouse, whether you're looking for a new opportunity, the advocates that carry your influence forward are super powerful, and you don't even have to be there.
How is this different from manipulation, theoretically speaking? Are they the same thing? Are they somewhat different? How does one sort of, because there is an ethical line to this, once a person in our position who already has influence thanks to media, we ask ourselves about this all the time. I'm sure you get approached by companies who want to work with you and you don't want to work with them because you don't find. And so there's this place where once somebody wields influence, and everybody wields influence in some level. A father wields influence over their kids and so on and so forth. I have influence over my friends. At what point does that become manipulative? Or is it always manipulation? It's in the eye of the beholder kind of thing.
It's a great question. So let's think about manipulation, right? And what it really is. Not the buzzword, but what it really is. Manipulation is nothing more than getting people to do something you want them to do that is not in their best interest. That's what makes it manipulation. You're getting them to do something you want them to do, but what they're doing for you doesn't benefit them. That's what makes it manipulation. The opposite of that is when you get someone to do something that you want them to do that is also beneficial for them. We have a word for that. We call that motivation. So when you get someone to take an action that you want them to take, and that action benefits them, that's called motivation. When you get someone to take an action and that action doesn't benefit them, that's called manipulation. So what you really have here is two terms that mean the same thing. Because at the end of the day, whether you're manipulating someone or motivating them, you're still getting them to take an action that you want them to take, right? So what we learn at CIA is that motivation and manipulation are like two sides of a coin. The value of the coin is the metal itself, but printed on one side of the metal is heads, and printed on the other side of the metal is tails. Essentially, printed on one side is manipulation, printed on the other side is motivation. But the value of the coin is the same. The value of the metal is the same. What it represents is the same. So when we talk about how to manipulate people, or if people are being manipulated, the answer is we're all being manipulated all the time because we're either being motivated to take an action or we're being manipulated to take an action. But we're taking some kind of an action. And if you want to control your own success, if you want to control your own opportunity in the future, you learn that you need to either motivate or manipulate, or even better, both, in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Because someone is always driving. That's another message that we drill into each other at CIA. You are either in control or you are under control. And that's all of life. If you are in control, then you're motivating and manipulating others to get what you want. If you are under control, then you are being manipulated or being motivated to take actions that benefit somebody else.